The saw blade had just kissed the trunk of the young fir when Emma's mittened hand yanked Stephen's sleeve hard.
Daddy, wait, something's crying.
Stephen froze. The growl of the saw died instantly. He listened past the whisper of wind and distant chimes. There, a thin, helpless mewling, no louder than a kitten, and it was coming from the tree itself. Emma knelt in the snow, pressing her ear flat against the fragrant needles, her pink jacket bright against the white.
It's inside the tree, Daddy. There's something alive in there.
Stephen dropped the saw and knelt beside her, prying the branches apart with shaking hands. The mewling grew louder, more frantic, a desperate, quivering cry that stopped his heart.
Hurry, Daddy. It's so tiny. It sounds so scared.
Stephen's mind raced through every explanation. A bird, a squirrel, anything but nothing made sense. Stephen's fingers finally found a gap, and he spread the branches wide. The sound sharpened into a tiny, high-pitched mew.
Daddy, look! It's a baby!
Nestled in a crook of the trunk, barely visible among the needles, was a newborn bobcat cub, its eyes half closed, its fur still damp from birth, mewing piteously.
It's so little. Is it hurt?
Stephen's breath caught in his throat. He'd never seen a creature so fragile, so utterly alone.
Tom, over here now.
Within moments, the farmer's heavy boots crunched through the snow. Tom Brennan's face went pale, his weathered hands shaking as he stared at the tiny creature.
That tree come from the back, 40, this morning. Cleared that section myself. There wasn't a thing alive in those rows.
Then, where's its mommy?
Emma turned toward the tree line and froze. There, just beyond the fence, a pair of amber eyes watched them without blinking.
That's the mother. She's come back for her cub. Let's get this cub inside before it freezes. Then I'll check the trail cameras. Maybe they'll show us how this happened.
They hurried to the farm office, Stephen carrying the trembling cub inside his coat. Tom pulled a plaid blanket from a shelf, and they made a soft nest on the desk.
You are safe now, little one. My mom would have loved you. She took care of baby animals, but she's in heaven now.
She loved this farm, sweetheart. Every year she'd find the perfect tree. This would have been her favorite Christmas. I'll check those cameras. Back in a minute.
Emma hummed a soft lullaby as the cub's trembling eased. Stephen watched his daughter, a lump swelling in his throat. The office door creaked open. Tom stood rigid, his face drained of color.
You need to see this.
On the monitor, a grainy image waited. A secret the forest had been hiding all morning. Tom pressed play. The timestamp read 7:14 a.m. A logging crew's machinery churned in the distance, and there, darting through the frame, was the mother bobcat, a cub already in her mouth.
See that? She'd been moving her litter all morning. The crew started clearing her den site at dawn.
The next clip showed the mother frantically scouting the rows of trees, then tucking a second cub deep into the branches of a young fir.
That's the same tree we cut. She hid her baby there, then ran back for the others, and we took it before she could return.
The final footage showed the mother returning to an empty stump, circling frantically, then slinking to the tree line, where she'd been waiting ever since.
I authorized that logging. I thought expanding the farm would help my family, but I didn't check for dens first. This is my fault. Tom, you couldn't have known. But I should have. That cub nearly died because of me. And now its mother is out there, terrified. We have to fix this before it's too late.
What can we do? We can't just leave him out there. His mommy is waiting.
Outside, the amber eyes still watched, a clock ticking in the falling snow.
I could call a wildlife officer, but by the time they get here, that cub needs its mother now.
No, we can't wait. Look at him, he's shivering. He'll die if we don't help. Daddy, please. I can't lose him. Not like Mom. I can't lose anyone else.
All right, sweetheart. We'll take him back ourselves. I'll drive. The back acres at dusk She'll be hunting again. We'll put the cub where she can find him.
They bundled the cub tighter in the plaid blanket and stepped out into the deepening twilight. The mother's silhouette still haunted the tree line.
Don't be scared, little one. Your mommy's coming for you.
Tom gunned the truck engine. The headlights cut through the falling snow as they rumbled toward the Forbidden Acres.
This is crazy, but it's the only chance he's got.
The farm's front lot dwindled behind them, replaced by the dark mouth of the forest. Somewhere in that darkness, a mother waited, and time was running out. The truck halted at the edge of the back 40. Stephen stepped out, clutching the bundled cub close, Emma right behind him.
Okay, little guy. This is where you belong.
She'll find you, I promise. Just be brave, Tiny.
He tucked Emma's scarf around the cub, then rose, pulling her back to the truck. The tiny mules faded into the wind. Now we wait. Kill the lights and engine. We don't want to spook her. Darkness swallowed them. Only the faint glow of the dashboard illuminated their anxious faces.
Please come, Mommy Bobcat. He's so cold, and you are his only hope.
Minutes stretched like hours. The woods stayed silent, but for the whisper of snow.
She'll come. She has to.
The snow fell harder, burying their tracks and muffling the world. And still, no amber eyes appeared in the darkness.
Mom, if you are watching, please bring the Mommy Bobcat back to her baby.
Stephen squeezed her hand, his own heart hammering against his ribs. I did this. Please, let this work. Then, like two small lanterns, a pair of glowing amber eyes flickered in the darkness beyond the blanket. The mother emerged, low and cautious, her ears swiveling. She sniffed the tiny bundle, let out a low chuff, then gently took the scruff of the cub in her mouth.
She found him. Daddy, she really came back.
She carried the cub toward the dark thicket. Stephen's heart sank, but then a chorus of tiny mews pierced the silence. The mother reappeared, and at her heels, two more cubs tumbled out of the brush, mewing and stumbling after her.
Look, Daddy, she has a whole family. They're all together now.
All three cubs followed their mother into the safety of the dark pines. The night went quiet again. The drive back to the farm office was silent. Tom parked and slumped against the doorframe, shoulders shaking. I can't undo today, but I can make sure it never happens again. I am halting all cutting in the back acres for good. No more expansion. That land will stay wild. A safe corridor for the bobcats and anything else that calls it home.
You are a good man, Mr. Brennan. Mom would be proud.
Thank you, Emma. You taught me something today about what really matters.
Daddy, can we come back next year and put a ribbon on the stump for the cub and for Mom?
Of course, sweetheart. We'll do it every year. I promise.
The old farmhouse stood still in the snow, but something had shifted inside its walls. A simple vow, whispered in a worn office, would soon echo far beyond these acres. Later that night, Emma lay in her bed, still buzzing with the day's adventure. She clutched a crayon drawing of the bobcat cub.
Daddy, I want to be a wildlife protector when I grow up. I want to save every lost baby animal.
You already did, sweetheart. You saved one today.
Can I write a letter to Mommy? I want to tell her about the miracle.
Of course. She'd want to hear every word.
Emma scribbled a few lines, then tucked the letter under her pillow, the drawing still clutched in her hand.
Good night, Daddy. I'll dream about the Bobcat family tonight.
Good night, my brave girl.
Stephen walked to his own room and picked up the framed photo of his wife from the nightstand.
We're going to be okay, Allison. She's so much like you.
The next morning, Stephen called Tom from the kitchen, a thread of hope in his voice.
Tom, any sign of them on the trail cams?
They're safe, Stephen. The mother moved them to a new den deeper in the woods. All three cubs are with her. Stephen closed his eyes, exhaling a weight he hadn't known he carried. And Stephen, I've started drafting a letter to the town about the sanctuary. It's time.
That's the right thing, Tom. Thank you. I was thinking, Christmas Day, why don't you and Emma come by? We'll tie that ribbon together. She'd love that. So would I.
When he hung up, Stephen looked out at the fresh snow. For the first time since Allison's passing, Christmas felt like something more than survival. And on the desk in the farm office, a draft letter lay beside a red ribbon, waiting for Christmas morning. The Christmas Eve edition of the local paper carried Tom's letter. By sunrise, the whole county knew the story of the bobcat cub, hidden in a Christmas tree. Church bells rang out, and townspeople gathered with candles, their hearts softened by the miracle. Stephen and Emma drove to Brennan Family Tree Farm, a red ribbon tucked in Emma's pocket. They found a quiet crowd already circling the stump where the fir had stood. Voices hushed as Emma approached.
This is for my mom, Allison. She would have loved this.
Emma knelt in the snow and tied the red ribbon around the fresh stump, her mittens trembling slightly. The ribbon caught the winter light, a slash of crimson against the white. The crowd inhaled as one.
I know you can see this, Allison. I know you are proud.
Strangers wiped away tears. Tom Brennan stood at the back, his eyes glistening, a faint smile breaking through. That simple red ribbon, tied by a little girl who had lost so much, began to weave the whole town together in tears. Tom Brennan stepped forward, his voice rough but steady, and the crowd fell silent.
These back acres will now be a permanent wildcat sanctuary. No more cutting. We'll call it the Allison Reeves Memorial Sanctuary, named for a woman who loved this land and her family more than anything. And from this day forward, 10% of every Christmas tree sale will go to protect this wild corner forever.
Applause rippled through the gathering. Hands reached into pockets for ribbons, scarves, anything colored. One by one, townsfolk tied their own ribbons onto the stump. Blue for a father lost, gold for a son overseas, white for hope itself.
Daddy, look! They're all tying ribbons for people they love. Like I did for Mommy.
That's right, sweetheart. This little tree brought everyone together.
Emma watched the ribbons flutter, a living constellation of memories and hope. In that moment, grief became something she could share, and in the distance, beyond the ribboned stump, the untouched back acres stretched wild and silent, a promise kept. Back home, the tree glowed softly, and Emma spotted a small wrapped box beneath the lowest branches. She tore the paper and gasped. A plush bobcat stared up at her with stitched amber eyes.
Daddy, it's the bobcat.
To remind you that even when things seem lost, they can be found again, just like hope.
I'll keep him forever. He'll remember me, and I'll remember Mommy.
She carried the plush bobcat to the mantel and placed it beside Allison's photograph, as if introducing them. Then Stephen lifted her up, and she hung a tiny bobcat ornament on a high branch of the Christmas tree.
Every year, we'll add a new ribbon for Mom and a new ornament for the family we helped save.
We'll never forget them, right, Daddy?
The plush bobcat watched from the mantel, a guardian of memories, while new snow began to blanket the world outside. In the weeks after Christmas, the story went national. News vans lined the farm road. Donations flooded in, enough to hire a ranger and expand the sanctuary. Families arrived from across the country, each with a ribbon for the stump. Tom stood by the new sanctuary sign, his weathered face wet with tears.
I never thought my worst mistake would lead to something this beautiful.
In the farm office, Emma's drawing hung beside the trail cam photo, a lasting reminder. And that spring, the trail cams captured the bobcat family again, thriving in the protected acres. From her home, Emma watched the trail cam video, the plush bobcat nestled beside her. The town's tears had become a national story, but for one little girl, it was simply a family made whole. And in the heart of the sanctuary, a mother bobcat led her cubs through the tall grass, free forever. When spring finally broke the frost, Stephen and Emma returned to the sanctuary, eager to see the land they had helped protect.
Daddy, look! Our ribbon is still here, and there are flowers growing all around the stump.
I saved the best pictures for you, Emma. The trail cams caught the whole family just this morning.
Tom spread the photos across the desk. The 3 cubs, now gangly and strong, tumbling over each other in a sunlit meadow.
They look so happy. And the mommy bobcat isn't hiding anymore.
Because they're safe now, sweetheart. Because you listened.
Emma traced the silhouette of the smallest cub, the one she had once held, now pouncing on a butterfly in the photo.
They'll have this meadow forever. That's the promise we made.
We really saved them, Daddy. The whole family.
Beyond the ribboned stump, the meadow stretched wild and eternal. A family's hope, rooted in the earth, now blooming. Tom brought a small fir sapling, its roots wrapped in damp burlap, and a shovel with a red handle.
We should call this one the Hope Tree, because that's what the cub gave us.
Tom hammered a wooden plaque into the earth beside the new tree. The inscription read, "Hope Tree," where one small cub changed everything.
There. Now everyone will know what happened here, and what you did, Emma.
Emma produced a fresh red ribbon, but this one had tiny white letters. For Mom.
This one is just for her, so she knows we still think about her every day.
Stephen stood a few paces back, watching Emma's small hands tie the bow. A breeze stirred the meadow.
She's here. I know it.
Each year we'll add another ribbon, and the Hope Tree will get stronger, just like us.
The ribbons danced against the sky, a family's promise woven into the branches, never to be broken. As the sun dipped low behind the Hope Tree, Emma looked up at Stephen with a quiet certainty.
Daddy, can we come back every year to make sure the ribbons are still here and the bobcats are safe?
I promise. Every Christmas, as long as those bobcats need us.
Tom walked over, wiping soil from his hands, and stood beside them.
This sanctuary will need a caretaker someday. Someone who knows its story.
Emma giggled, her eyes sparkling with a dream that would take root.
Maybe me.
I can't think of anyone better.
The 3 of them stood together in the golden light, 3 generations of a new kind of family, bound by a tiny wildcat. And far beyond them, the protected meadows rustled with life as the first evening stars appeared. That night, after Emma fell asleep, Stephen sat at his desk and opened a fresh sheet of paper. He wrote about the mewling sound, the tiny bobcat, and the desperate mother watching from the shadows. He wrote of Emma's courage, how she had insisted they save the cub, and how a single red ribbon had bound a whole town together. Finally, he wrote, "Every Christmas, I'll tie a ribbon for you." Our daughter made sure of that. He folded the letter and carried it to the living room. The mantel held Allison's photo, the plush bobcat beside it. Stephen placed the letter there, a quiet offering.
She read it? I hope so.
Later, in Emma's room, the nightlight cast a gentle glow. She stirred in her sleep, a smile tugging at her lips. In her dream, 3 bobcat cubs bounded through a meadow, their mother watching from a sunlit rock. They were free, and so was she. And on the mantel, the letter lay beside the photo, and the plush bobcat, a promise sealed for eternity. 1 year later, the Hope Tree stood taller, its branches heavy with ribbons of every color, hundreds of memories woven into the winter air. Emma, now 7, walked toward the tree with a fresh red ribbon, her mother's name written carefully in white letters.
I brought you a new ribbon, Mommy. The bobcats are still here, and so are we.
Stephen leaned against a nearby fence, watching his daughter with a quiet pride that needed no words. Nearby, a young family chose their tree from the front acres, a new sign beside them, reading "Sanctuary Protected," cut with care.
The farm has changed, but it still feels like home.
That's because Mom is here, Daddy. In every tree and every ribbon.
The old stump wore a crown of ribbons, the original one from last year, still bright, now joined by countless others. Emma touched the first ribbon she had ever tied, the one that had started everything, and the hope tree danced in the breeze, a living mosaic of love, loss, and the promise that no one is truly gone. 2 more winters passed. The hope tree now towered above the old stump, a monument of ribbons and resolve.
There was a tiny cub hidden inside this very tree, and we helped his mom find him.
The sanctuary had doubled its protected acres. The logging scars were gone, replaced by wild meadows and winding trails. Tom, now retired, visited the old stump every morning, a silent ritual of gratitude. Stephen watched Emma lead the children with a quiet pride, his heart full. One morning, a sleek bobcat with tufted ears emerged from the tall grass, pausing to survey the land. It was one of the grown cubs, the one Emma had held, returning to the place where his life was saved.
We built a world you can come home to.
The bobcat blinked slowly, then melted back into the meadow, as if in thanks, and the hope tree stood sentinel, its ribbons whispering the story to every passing wind. Years later, Emma Reeves was a teenager, her blonde hair longer and her voice steady with purpose. She stood before the hope tree, now towering and dense with ribbons, a living chronicle of all the lives it had touched.
I've tied a ribbon every year since I was 6. This one's for you, Mom. We did it, Mom. The whole family is safe.
Stephen stood a few steps behind her, his hair now gray at the temples, his pride unwavering.
Your mom would be the proudest of all.
I am going to study wildlife biology. I want to protect places like this for the rest of my life.
Back home, the crayon drawing from that first night still hung on Stephen's desk, a reminder of where it all began. The hope tree shimmered in the afternoon light, its hundreds of ribbons holding the memories of a town, a family, and a little girl who refused to let go. And in the sanctuary beyond, a bobcat called out, answered by the rustle of cubs in the tall grass. As dusk painted the sanctuary in amber and rose, a bobcat mother led her cubs across the meadow. The hope tree caught the last light, its hundreds of ribbons swaying like a silent symphony. For every soul that once felt lost, may you find your way home. Wind chimes hung from the old stump, sang softly, carrying the echo of a child's laughter through the trees. A single ribbon, faded but bold, still read, "For Mom," in a child's careful handwriting. That ribbon, like all the others, tied the past and future together in an unbreakable thread of love. The bobcats disappeared into the tree line, but their presence remained, a quiet promise in the wilderness. And the hope tree, keeper of 1,000 stories, stood unshaken against the twilight sky, and on the breeze, a promise whispered that even the smallest act of kindness can save a world. Silence. Then, the distant laughter of a girl who believed, and a bobcat's call that answered.